Is keyboard too small for me?
Hello, I am Danny of RX Fit, your functional training coach, director of All 9 Wellness, and today we're going to be talking about wrist pain. Very common. As you notice, I'm pulling my keyboard out here, and my hands are just really close together when I'm trying to type. Now, generally, I'm over here, of course, next to here, and imagine my elbow being on top of this, shoulders are elevated. So this whole situation is pretty tightened up, depending on the size of your body, of your overall physique. But it doesn't matter because all of us are restricted by movement. So that's what we're talking about today. 3 ways we can come across and solve that wrist pain. Right. Like everything else I talk about, there's always an association with the muscle groups, right? And you got to solve one before you can get to the next one. So in this one situation is we want to look at all of our joints. We have shoulder, right? We have our elbow, and then we have down to our wrist, and they are all connected till we get to the wrist. The wrist will be the one that will be symptomatic. Everything else will be associated with that pain though. So first I'm gonna find out which is tighter, my bicep or my tricep. So I'll straighten my arm and try to straighten as much as I can. My bicep actually feels not that bad, but my tricep feels very tight. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring my elbow hand up to my neck. I'm gonna push straight up and stretch all this, right? Stretch, 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 30 seconds to a minute, like everything that we do. 30 seconds to a minute, and relax that. So we'll do that, loosen that up. That'll help loosen up or alleviate some of the tension in the joint that's right here in my elbow, which allows me to go to my next phase. My next phase is, there's 2 sections we're gonna focus on here. The bottom part of your hand and the top part. We'll say the top for last. Bottom here, you wanna stretch. So it's this sort of stretch, right? When you bring your hand back like this, and if it is not just a stretch, it's not just a static stretch where you're gonna pull on it, you're going to pull on it and use your hand to try to push away. So this hand is pulling this way, this hand is pushing away. It's called a PNF stretch. So 3 seconds at a time and as hard as you can. So this is just straight up static stretch right here. And then pull as hard as you can and push against your hand. 1, 2, and 3, and then relax, right? Let it loosen up. Again, come back, pull as hard as you can. 1, 2, and 3, and then let it relax. You'll feel that really pulling on here in this range of motion. So again, the reason why we're having these pains in our wrist is because these here and here, usually an imbalance, and there's too tight pulling on the wrist here, which is causing compression, right? And then we have limited range, or we don't use limited range, so our range is shorter and shorter. Instead of coming here to here, we start going here to here to here to here till eventually we're only like right here. And then that's what's going to happen. So anytime we try to use our wrist, there's no mobility there. Body doesn't want to do it. All right. So the last move we're going to do is either you can do this one. A lot of people try to do this one and loosen up the wrist. I don't think it's actually that effective because what we're trying to go for is a muscle right in this range. So what I like to do is keep your hand in this position, and then you're going to press down on the top of your wrist. This is the hard part about this, is you're gonna find the muscle that you're trying to loosen up. So if you pull back, let's see if I can do it with this hand. If you pull back, it's the one just past this, see this big old bump right here? Just one right past that, it's right in the center here. You wanna find the part that hurts the most. Ow, that hurts me from right there. Find that, and then that's the one I'm going to put all the pressure into as much as I can. Same idea, push as hard as you can, and then loosen up a little bit and let your hand loose. Pull back and push as hard as you can again. Where the idea here is to break up all the fascia, all the tissue that's binding this joint in back here. But this is where it's going to be most issue, or at the very least, if you solve that here, this tightness here, it will help alleviate everything, even if you don't get to the root of the overall cause. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed this. Again, I'm Danny of RX Fit. If you like myself, please follow along and making recommendations. In fact, this one specifically about the wrist was to Melissa Sanchez. Thank you very much for reaching out. If you have any more recommendations, I love to cover them. I want to really attack the things that we're dealing with on an everyday basis. Being a personal trainer and a functional fitness coach, my problems are a little bit different than y'all's problems. So I will cover some of the stuff that I run into, and then if y'all can reach out to me with the stuff that you run into, then we can kind of tackle the whole thing. All right, thank you very much. Have a great day.